Hey guys, it's Kai here. Today I'm going to show you how to understand and set up API requests for the new GPT-image API inside of n8n within 10 minutes. Let's go. Cool, so to start off, you're going to want to verify your organization to start using the API. And you do that by going to settings from platform.openai.com. And you get into a screen like this, and just underneath the organization ID, you have a button that says verify your organization. And that's just OpenAI's way of verifying users so they can keep people in check on how they're using the API. And from there, what you also want to do is generate your API keys, which you're going to plug into n8n. But just bear in mind that you can only copy and paste it once. So once you actually make it, just keep it on a tab or something so you can transition that easily into the n8n workflow later on. Now, once you've done that, the next step is to actually understand the endpoints that we've got available here from the OpenAI documentation. Now, what OpenAI have done is they've actually taken the functionality of the chat box that we have within ChatGPT, so the interface. In normal conversations, when we can say, create this image and then edit it afterwards, what they've done is they've taken that interface and broken it down into different capabilities. So whether it's generating images or editing them, we need to make different calls to different endpoints. And you notice that as I change tabs here, the requirements for these capabilities also change. And all that we have to do is make the correct requirement, which will allow us to access that API and generate the correct result. So to start off, the create images one is the easiest one by far, because what we can do here from n8n is we can copy this, go into our n8n workflow, and then we have the create image step here. And what you're going to do is click into the HTTP request and click import curl, and you're going to want to import the information that we've just copied from this tab here. Once you paste it, all that you're going to need to do and fill in is put in your OpenAI API key, which you get from this tab here. So open API keys, and you create one and then copy that into there. Once you've done that, all that you need to edit is basically a prompt, which I have it as a default. Easy as that. As you can see, if I click test workflow, we are going to get a response in a minute. Cool, so as you can see, we got a response here as a binary data. So if you click view the image, we get the result there of the baby otter. And what OpenAI returns us with is this basics for JSON, which we can convert into a file using this node, and that's how we can see the response within n8n. So that's pretty cool. Now, to expand on this, you would need to have a look at these capabilities within the OpenAI documentation. So as you can see, you have the prompt, which is always required, and in my case I had the baby otter. But you can also change the background parameters, the model that you're using. The model, although it doesn't say this required field here, we always want to be using the gpt-image-1 model. So always just make sure to have that within your HTTP request. So mine is right here. And from there, you can alter these different parameters here. So moderation, number of generated images, and all that you do, which like they're optional, right? But all that you need to do to add these in, if you want them into your result, is put in the parameter. In this case, it's number, so n, and then put the amount that you want. So you do that for each of the fields, and then you get your result to your specific use case for whatever you're using it for. But that's that working. Cool, so moving on to the second part of the request that we need to make is the image edit request, which makes things a little bit more complex, because to edit an image, we need to send the GPT model an actual photo to create a change, right? And you can see that this is actually a required field that we need to send it, and we need to do so in the correct format. So it says here a PNG, WebP, or JPG file with less than 25 megabytes. So that's the first thing that changes. And the second thing is that the actual rest of the data that we're sending it is in form data. You can see this F here, that's for form data. And this changes things because we can't simply copy and paste it into n8n, because n8n doesn't support form data. So this is the same HTTP request. If we click import, we can see that it can't support that type of curl. So this means we need to do things manually, and let me just show you how I did that using firstly in a field where I can actually input things. So this is a form submission on n8n, and this is just the fields that I put in here. The title is GPT-1 trigger, edits, all this, and then in this form elements field, there is a field that supports a file, and this file can only be PNG and JPG. And then the second one is the prompt, which is in a text format, and this placeholder here, which says like the photos that are going to be edited, right? So this is what we're actually going to input into the AI. And you can see that these two fields correlate with the two required fields of the documentation. Now, again, you can add all of these accordingly afterwards into your request in the same way, but just what we have to be aware of and fix is the prompt and the image functionality of things. I'm not going to test this just yet because I want to show you the request that we make from that. So in this HTTP request, since we can't import the curl, what you do is you put in this endpoint, which is found up here. The authentication remains the same, but now instead of sending JSON, we're going to click form data, and the form data is going to have the model that we want, which is the GPT image, and then the second form data is going to be the prompt, which you can see I've mapped here as the response to the form submission. So that's what we're going to map and actually send to the AI. And you can see here, this isn't form data. This is a binary file, because this is the format that we're going to send our image to the AI. And again, you can add as many of these as you want. I think OpenAI supports 16 in total. So there you go, 16 images at once, which is a lot. But these are just the required fields, so the minimum that you need to get this thing working, right? So let me just test this step. And once we get the correct response, it's going to convert into basics4, which is the same as this example here. So let me click test workflow. I'm going to click submit. And as you can see, our scenario is running. So now the data, the photo has been sent to the AI along with the prompt, which is guiding it to edit it in a certain way. And we're going to get the same sort of response as we did before by converting it into a file that we can view. Cool, so I actually got an error here, and the response that I got was that the content that I put in may be rejected by the safety system. So that's something that you got to be aware of. Just for some reason, OpenAI might look at some photos and just think it's not appropriate. So let's try another photo. So I've added in another photo. I can say make a cartoon version of this photo. I change the photo, now we've got our response. Click view, and there's the cartoon version of our photo. That's pretty nice. And if you click on the HTTP part of it, we can see that the binary, so the file that I put in, the photo, comes in as binary data, which is why we send it as binary. And what n8n asks for is the name of the field. And this field name is called photo to edit. So we put that in there. All the form data remains the same. This green JSON mapping here is there because like it received the value of it, and that's the prompt there, make a cartoon version of this. And just like that, we've been able to send everything to OpenAI and create photos and edit photos. So that's it for the video today. I hope you can take this and use some of these other optional parameters to make some really cool things. There's still the mask feature, you know, the different numbers of photos that you can make to, you know, like create galleries or whatever comes into your mind. But what I've showed you today is the basis of these requests, or kind of like the foundation for you to make some like pretty cool projects with n8n. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, leave a comment, leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one.